future. So if they're totally focused on lifestyle, that's great, but I believe it's my job as an agent to also help them to look at the investment side. So there are some investments that might work beautifully for them, but the buyer pool is gonna shrink way down because it's kind of weird if they go to sell it, you know, stuff like that. Benefits and features. Okay, so we see here a large yard is the feature. The benefit is a place for the kids to play soccer, plenty of room for the dog to run, and great place for entertaining friends. What would be a couple more
Solar
ideas?
panels.
I'm sorry?
Solar panels.
Solar panels, yeah, solar panels. What does that benefit?
Your electric bill.
No kidding.
Yeah.
Makes such a big difference. I run my AC now whenever I want. I didn't for years and years and years, and if I did in the hottest months, I had a sick mom and I had to keep things cool, I'd have a $400, $500, $600 electric bill. My average now is $140 a month. It's wonderful. So I can actually relax with the AC on. It's a huge benefit, huge benefit. Any other ideas you can think of that would be?
Location of a condo probably means not too much street noise, or if it's a corner unit, you get better views. Or
Okay, so if it, yeah, that's true.
benefit of having a
What if it had street noise, but it was, well, no, that's okay. What were you gonna say?
well, the feature is that it's a corner unit, but the benefit, or one of the benefits, is that not as much street noise, or not as much noise from the street, or
Not impacted by people on both sides.
Yeah,
too.
Lots of different things that
Something.
can come up.
Yeah.
No, I get you. I get you. On page 22, we're talking about recognizing buying signals as you tour the home. My favorite one with couples is that they start grabbing at each other. They touch, right?
Oh.
I want this.
Many times I've known they were gonna buy a house before they did. Because remember, all those things are in their heads. Oh, is this a good investment? They're tick, 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 tick. And it takes them a while to, if they were just to allow themselves to go on how they're feeling about this property. Because homes are bought on emotion. We're talking about residents now, not investors, but that's a big sign for sure. Let's see what this says. Pay attention to your client's buying signals as you're touring properties. They'll give you the leverage you need to help the buyers make a decision. And once you know who the decision maker is in a family, keep your focus on them. That's true. Now, one of the ways you can find out is when you sit down for your first meeting in the conference room, you're gonna sit here and they're gonna sit there. See who sits right across from you. That's almost always the decision maker. Yeah, good. Yeah, it is kind of interesting. Yeah. Some of the most common buying signals are listed below. Body language and facial expressions, smiling, brightening up. Asking about a seller's motivations, that's a big one. Asking detailed questions, such as about the seller's disclosure or taxes. Answering questions that if they didn't think it might at some point apply to them as a new owner, they wouldn't ask. You can kind of tell a difference there. Visualizing furniture placement, that's a big deal. I know the gal that we spoke to this morning for the listing, she has a darling place, and it's so cute. There's little goodies here and there all over, and you walk in, if you ever go, it just feels warm and comfortable. But you want people to be able to imagine their belongings, their furnishings, and their little tchotchke cutesies. So it's more difficult to do that when there's a bunch of stuff everywhere. Ideally, when the listing agent does a good job, so that you can visualize where you place your furniture and etc. That's very helpful, and they'll do that. They'll say, "Oh my gosh, hi there." they'll say, oh my gosh. Like for instance, I've had probably several transactions where they had a baby grand piano. Well, that's a must-have. You have a living room where a baby grand won't fit, but if they're going paw, 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 they're pawing their partner saying, you're going. Which is great, right? So visualizing furniture placement, comparing other houses to it. Oh my gosh, this house is great. You know, smelly cat. I'm giving smelly cat a hard time today. Discussing new paint or carpet, what they would do to make it their own. Sitting down in the house. By the way, I always recommend that. If they're showing some buying signals, well, let's take a deep breath. I can tell you like this. You want to, maybe take another look, or here in the living room, have a seat. It's really powerful to sit on the couch in the living room of a home, and they can imagine that it's their home. Becoming protective, not wanting others to see the property. Now that can be hilarious because there's someone else here to see the house. That's a definite buying sign. Asking for a second showing. And believe it or not, number 10, raising objections.
I was here today.
That's a good buying sign. And it's easy, and I actually remember in my early days, that would kind of scare me, or go, oh, they're not interested. Not at all. If they're not raising objections, they're not considering it. Right?
You too.
Yeah. So, raising objections is a good one. And that lets you know what's going on in their minds.
Well, I gotta bring you coffee.
Issues. Yeah.
Brazilian coffee.
I didn't read this ahead, but they feel the same way. You may be surprised by number 10. It's a common misconception that objections such as I don't like blah means that a buyer is not interested in a property. Objections can actually be strong buying signals. When buyers raise an objection to some features of the home, it may mean that they're imagining themselves in the home.
It can change if it's,
I'm sorry.
if it's something that you can change, it might be a good
Yeah,
thing, but if it's
yeah.
something that you can't, then
Boy, I get you. That doesn't float my boat either. If we were able to figure this out, is everything else good? If that was just as you wanted it, would you be making an offer today? Gotta keep the bus going, you understand. So, page 23, we're showing some scripts. Objection, we love it, but we haven't seen enough properties yet. Did you read that, Erin?
Sure. Mr. and Mrs. Buyer, my role as your buyer specialist and the reason why we met for a consultation is to sort through the homes that meet your criteria and only show you the best available homes, the cream of the crop. And the best homes on the market go fast, usually in 1, maybe 2 days. If you love this home, chances are someone else does too. Are you willing to lose the perfect home for you, your wow home, the one you will absolutely love, just so you can see everything out there?
So, this is referring back to that initial consultation. I think it is important to go through how things might play out, so that it's not a surprise in the back of their mind. They're going, oh, I let people know that on the average I only show people 7 or 8 homes, so that they know, and they're not surprised by that, or they go, well, she did say. And if they have confidence in you that you have in fact really, narrowed the field down for them to show them ones that really will work for them, that's a good thing.
I feel like this is, it seems a little pushy. Are you willing to lose the perfect home for you, your wow home, the only one you absolutely love, just so you can see everything out there? Or
I actually like that you brought that up, because this wouldn't be the script that I would use either.
Yeah, I would be insulted if somebody said that to me. It's
Yeah.
like,
It's
I
Like,
know,
just buy it already.
right.
Yeah, exactly,
and
okay.
you're assuming that you know what is a wow home for me. I'm the only one that's gonna really determine that, and
I completely agree, there's a gentler way to convey the same idea. And, you know, well, as we've talked, there's not a lot of inventory,
Right.
and the best homes go first, so I completely understand, Mr. and Mrs. Beyer, and I wanna make sure that you're very confident. So let's make a game plan, so
To
that
see a couple
you
more
can be
homes.
satisfied, and because if, I think this might be the home for you, and I don't want you to lose it because, you know. But I agree with you, so you need to be true to yourself, that's so, so important. You can't, some people could deliver this and do it okay, but if you don't feel good about it, it's not gonna come off well either, so. There's lots of scripts to choose from. Okay. You wanna read the next one?
Yeah, Mr. and Mrs. Beyer, remember at our, we really want a formal dining room.
That's
Mr.
a
and
big
Mrs.
one.
Beyer, remember at our first meeting when we talked about there being no such thing as 100% house? Refer to the 5 must-have sheets. We identified a formal dining room as being the 5 must-haves in your new home. Has a formal dining room taken precedence over one of these items? Oh,
Oh, okay,
something
so you
else.
identified something else as being the 5 must-haves, that wasn't in your top 5.
Okay.
Mm-hmm.
So we identified the garage as being the 5 must-haves of your new home. Has a formal dining room taken precedence over these items? So,
You know, if so, which one? And it could be that is very important to them, and now you're shifting again, right? We're a rocket ship on the way to the moon, so as new adults presents
There's
itself.
6 must-haves too.
Yeah, sometimes there are 6 must-haves, that's right, that's right. Objection, we don't like the carpet, or the paint color, or the landscaping. Yeah, you can read that one.
I hear what you're saying, and this home does offer you a chance to add your own personal touches. Would it be better for you to pay a higher price for the seller to make the changes, or just redo this one yourself and meet your specific needs? Great.
Great.
I like
That's a
that.
good one.
That's a good
That's,
one.
you know,
I
that
like
is a
that
good
one.
one. That is a good one.
Circle.
There you go. So the more houses you show them, the less competent they think you are. Tony DiCello made that comment, and
What do they mean by that? More houses show the less competent.
Like you're
the
just,
other end of the spectrum, if you show them too many houses, they're going, well, didn't they hear that this is important and that's important in the other, and because the more houses you show them, the more all over the board the features and all that are going to be.
starts to look like you're just grasping at straws and not really like
Hey, you wanna buy this one?
drilling
How about
down.
this one, you wanna buy that one?
Yeah.
Page 24 talks about bringing your buyers to a decision. Remember, you're not a tour guide with a lockbox key. Super important. That's quite all right, my dear. Your job, once you've helped them find the right home, is to facilitate the decision-making process for your buyers so they can make an offer and get the home they want before someone else does. It's an important milestone in the home buying process. So you can see here in this funnel, leads, of course, lead generation. I mean, if you were really to be completely honest and people ask what you do for a living, you say, I'm a lead generator. That is your key main thing that you do. No leads, no business. So at the top of this funnel, you have to get the lead. From that lead, then you'll be able to secure an appointment. Once you've had your appointment and come to a meeting of the minds and you choose to work together, then you're gonna have agreements, a buyer's agreement, listing agreement. And then, of course, you're going to make an offer and create a contract for the property that they do buy. And last but not least is payday, right? So, what do you think? How do you handle buyers that are afraid to pull the trigger? Any ideas? It's kind of a,
Depends what's their objections.
it usually means that you haven't dug deep enough, right?
Ask more questions.
You know, and another thing I think is really important is to show your own vulnerability. You know, I don't have to be the professional. I mean, I have to be the professional, but I don't have to be the expert in every single thing. If they ask me a question and I don't know the answer, I'm actually willing and happy to let them know that, you know what, I don't want to give you the wrong answer and I'm not sure. The good news is I know how to get the answer. And you always want to be the source of the source, never the source anyway, for liability issues and so on. So I'm happy to show my, vulnerability. One of the ways I might do that is if they're just not pulling the trigger and there's something wrong, then we haven't figured out what it is that will allow them to pull that trigger. They might not have even figured it out. Sometimes we help them figure it out. And your training here, you may have seen they put quite a bit of emphasis on something that I think is so important in your personal life and in business, and that is asking a question. Why is this important to you? Well, it's important to me because it does this. Oh, well, why is that important to you? Da-da-da. And you go down layer to layer and you eventually uncover, oh, this is what's really important. So I wouldn't hesitate to say, you know what? I am so committed to doing a good job for you. And I'm a little concerned that there's some information that I don't have yet, or some more exploring that we need to do together, or that I can help you facilitate in this process that will help us turn the corner and empower me to show you the right home so that you can make a decision and buy your home. I may have been remiss I think it's important to show vulnerability and not just, all the time. So typically there's something there, right? There's something there. If not, there may be a trust issue, and maybe that's something you have to deal with. Hopefully not, but that happens too, right? There's not always. Nice little funnel. On page 25, there's going to be roadblocks during the process, whether you're talking to someone about a listing or with a buyer. Always be very careful to make sure that they understand that, guess what, things are going to happen. I can't promise you a perfect experience. Let's expect things to happen. The good news is I'm here and my team is here, and we're going to address those issues and correct them as we go along. So prepare them for the roadblocks that will inevitably happen. And in the decision-making process, each time you show a new property, it's a good idea to ask your buyer to rank that property on a scale of 1 to 10. Record that number on your home tour checklist. If you don't have the tour checklist, you have your copy, your agent copy. You're going to record the name, smelly cat, whatever it is, and if you maybe jot down a couple things to help you with that, and then you're back in the car getting ready to go to the next property. You go, okay, think about this for a moment. Give me your number. What is this number? Is this an 8? Is this a 10? I suspect I know, but this is your decision. Let me know. So the purpose is to continuously decide which property is ranked at the top for a possible offer. Ask them, why did you rank this lower or higher than another? But in the end, you're going to find that out of those 6, 8, 10 homes that you've shown them, that one sits at the top. And you can use that to bring in more discussion. Okay, this is the top of your list. Would you like to make an offer on this property? Oh, no. Okay, well, let's look at this a little more then. It's obviously at the top of your list. So many things did work. What doesn't work? Anyway, it can be a great way to segue into some more counseling for them. When you finish touring homes, put all the MLS sheets together in their order of ranking. Eliminate all but the top 2 ranking homes. Take the highest scoring home and ask, so is this one your favorite? Is it going to be your new home? It does meet everything on the checklist, doesn't it? I can see why you're so excited about this. 2 things are going to happen. It's going to be a go, or you're going to have an opportunity to uncover more criteria or fear, and concern, all like that. That's a big part of our job, psychology. Take the MLS sheet of the top ranking home, flip it over and draw a line from top to bottom. On the left side of the line, write pros, on the other side, write cons. Dig deep with your questions to truly pull out what they like and don't like about the home. Again, the first level, second level, ideally third level. This way, your buyers don't feel like you're pushing the home sale on them, and it helps you isolate objections. Everybody can relate to a pro-con list. We do it in all sorts of stuff in our lives, ideally. Number 6, ask them to make an offer. Once they have clearly narrowed in on the highest ranking house, help them focus on the next step, making an offer by asking, so would it make sense for us to go back to my office and do some research on house prices in the neighborhood to see what would be a good offer? You know how they say, selling 101, don't forget to ask for the order. Right? They used to say, press hard, there's 3 copies. Okay, I believe that we have a video to watch. It's only about 3 minutes long, and after that we'll discuss if we have any aha. No. Let's see, is this video, Latasha, is this
At
video?
the bottom, so hit
Yeah.
escape. Or, okay, so keep going. Right here.
Oh, it's in Chrome. Thank you. There we go. So you can see these videos are all within the Ignite area under education in our KW. So you can go back and look at things as well.
Hi, my name is Sean Healy, and today I'm going to teach you how to create buyer urgency through the showing process. And the first step is setting expectations. We tell buyers that it is a seller's market, and what that means is the best homes go fast. The next area that we set expectations in is multiple offers. We tell our buyers there's going to be a lot of other buyers out there, and you may find yourself in a competitive situation. The third area that we set expectations on is condition. Many of the homes that they're going into are going to be move-in ready, but they need a little bit of work. The next step in the process we call the funnel. And essentially we're trying to take the entire MLS and funnel it down so that at the end of the day, there can be only one house that kicks out the bottom. What I'd like you to do tonight, pick out the best 10 or 15 homes, and then tomorrow drive by those homes and check them out. I want you to pick out the best 3 or 4, and we'll go out and take a look at those homes. Next part is the actual showing process. We show the first house. You'll ask the buyer, on a scale of 1 to 7, leaving out the 4, 7 being perfect, and there is no perfect home, and 1 being unlivable, where would you rate this home? Inevitably, the buyer will answer it's a 5. And the reason they give you a 5 is because they don't have anything else to compare it to on the very first home that they've gone to see. Then what you want to do is try and reinforce what's making it a 5 for you. Then the next question you asked said, what are some of the things that you would do to move it more towards a 7 if you were to purchase it? You go on to the next house. Now you ask an alternative of choice question. Pretend you had to buy one of these 2 houses today. Which one would it be? The last one we saw or this one? They liked the first one better. Perfect. Go to the third house. The third house, you do the same thing. You say, all right, Gary, pretend there's only 2 homes on the market and you have to buy one today. Which one is it? The first one we saw or this one? And they say, this one. And you repeat that process over and over until you get to the last house. At the end of the day, you say, well, it looks like 123 Main Street was your favorite house. So right there from the house, we call the listing agent, find out if the home is still available. Let's go back to the office and get this property written up before somebody else gets it. My biggest aha out of this came when I was out with one of my first-time buyer families, and we drove up to the first house, and my buyer said, I don't even want to go in that one. What he ended up telling me at the end of that trip was, Sean, What I want you to do is print me out a list of every home that matches my criteria. I'm gonna drive by those homes and I'll tell you which ones I wanna see. Aha! Hey, thanks for watching KW Connect and make it a great day.
He said a couple of things that I like, and there were a couple of things said that are a little bit contrary to a few other things, but again, in this business, just like none of us really like that one script, because it wasn't who we are, you know, you're gonna get a lot of different input, and you're gonna be able to choose what, do you guys know who Mo Anderson is?
Vice chairman of the board.
She's an amazing, amazing.
We do now.
Oh, yeah. Mo Anderson is. She's amazing, and, yeah, she's vice chairman of the board. She's played a huge role in building this company, and she's a wonderful woman that came from absolutely nothing, and, what a mind, and what a beautiful spirit she has. I admire her very much. Okay. So, here we are on
27.
if your buyers do not want to make an offer on any of the properties you show, make sure you understand why. Then be sure to schedule the next appointment before you say goodbye. Even if you have nothing lined up, that's really important. Don't ever leave without scheduling the next. So, this script, set the next appointment. Mr. and Mrs. Buyer, before we part company, let's get out our calendars and set up our next meeting to look for that home you want to buy. If nothing worth seeing is hit the market by Friday, I will call you and we'll reschedule for the next Saturday. Okay, so let's at least have a tentative time. I know you might not know what's going on, but you know, my schedule fills up. I want to make sure I have ample time to take good care of you, and there are new properties coming on the market, so I'm gonna really scour the new and go back through, and you know, you've given me some information that is gonna help me to look through a little different lens, and so I'll have more homes for you to see.
I think in this market though, you just, if something comes on the market, you need to see it that day.
Right.
I mean, so, you know.
Yeah, yeah, that's true if you can.
Yeah.
Mhm. It's, you know, it depends on if you can get into the property and,
Yeah.
you know, all that stuff, but yes, I think I tell people, keep your running shoes on, you know. I understand you want the best deal possible, I get that, me too, so keep your running shoes on, because you have to be the first one there, and we need to do all the work that we need to do for you to be in a position to make a decision and move forward quickly. Overcoming buyer reluctance. Once you've seen the best houses that meet the buyer's criteria, you may have to help them overcome reluctance. It's a common issue many people experience when they're suddenly faced with the reality of making an offer for one of the greatest financial investments of their lives. So your job is not to try and sell your buyers a home that isn't right for them, but it is your job to help them recognize when a house does fit their needs, wants, and values. When buyers are sure they like a house but are reluctant to take the next step to make an offer, reassure them that the simple step of making an offer is not as binding as they may think. I think that's important advice. Emotions do kind of start to take over. Now, practice is good, but we really don't need to practice, right? We want to feel relatively confident that this is the right house for them, that you would feel good. They just need to work out a few things so they can see a clear path to it being their home. And so you definitely, again, want to have the confidence that that's the right home for them, but what's going to happen sometimes is that these buyers are going to get super nervous about, but this issue and about that, and remember I don't have this done with the mortgage lender yet, and oh my gosh, we're going to be off island, da, da, da. That's when I say, hey, let's sit down and write up the offer, and then I reassure them what I've hopefully already talked to them about, and that is in the process. You know, we're gonna put an offer in, you're not legally bound to move forward until you have all your questions answered and you've satisfied through inspections and so on. First and foremost, you won't be legally bound to move forward if you don't get your mortgage money, if they're getting a mortgage. So don't you worry about that. You know, I say, hey, in over 30 years, I've never had a client lose any earnest money. Just great to be able to, you know, tell people that. And then you also want to let them know that all of these things, once we take it off the market so no one can swoop in and get it from us, then you're gonna have a couple weeks, usually, to get all our questions answered and to have our inspections and all that. So truly, we can put an offer in and make certain that we do in fact want this house before we're legally bound to move forward.
What do you usually use as a guideline for earnest money?
It can be all around the place. Sometimes, if people are comfortable, because everyone feels differently about money, right? Money's one of those things. If it's too small, then psychologically it might be perceived as weakness. On the other end of that, when people, you know, are feeling confident that they're not at risk, and again, say, no one's lost their earnest money. If they put down a $10,000 earnest money instead of 3 or 5, it's all, of course, depends on the
Price of the house.
price point. On the very highest price homes, it's a smaller percentage, right? But it really does depend. I don't like to throw out percentages because I think it makes a difference. If, for instance, we're trying to negotiate and get something that they might not want to spend money on or give to us, or a lower price and so on, then you want to take advantage of, you know, the psychology of being able to, you know, offer them strong earnest money so that they perceive strength. I mean, is it really any different? It's a cash deal in the end, right? But it's gonna make a difference. So it really depends.
Okay.
Any other questions on that? Should we read
Yeah.
through these scripts?
Yeah.
You wanna start?
What if prices drop? Mr. and Mrs. Buyer, are you most concerned about the price of the home or the monthly payment on the mortgage? Of course, the monthly payment, I would have to agree with you. Let me ask you another question. Do interest rates generally go up faster than home prices come down? What do you think? Yes, no doubt about it. In fact, interest rates could rise 1% tomorrow, right?